Hello and welcome to Wednesday, the day of Wednesdays. It's afternoon right now, and I wanted to talk about something that's been on my mind because I got an email about this maybe last week or 2 weeks ago, and that would be, I guess, e-waste. So I mentioned this back in December. It was a big deal then, and it still is a big deal, but uh, months and months and years ago, Google had their own gaming platform, and that was Google Stadia, right? Uh, it was basically online streaming game. You would hook up like a Chromecast with internet access, and you would be able to stream games. I know Amazon has something similar called Amazon Luna, and there are a couple of others, but you know, I got an email from Google. It's like, hey, the Stadia, where normally it's like what, like set $80 or something, and they're like, "Hey, we're selling this for $22." I'm like, "All right, I'll bite." So I bought it for $22, and then eventually they went out of they stopped providing service, so they refunded everybody's money. I got my $22 back, so I essentially got this for free. It came with a very nice controller, and it came with a Google Chromecast Ultra, which is the main reason I bought it. But it kind of just sat on my shelf inbox for a couple of months, if not years, whenever I bought this. In fact, if I can load up my email real quick, I can just check. This was the Stadia, right? Stadia. I have the receipt from. I have the refund from end of 2022, and I have the order, which was for $24.14. That's the tax. Yeah, it was initially $80. I got it on sale for $22 and plus tax. So that was in December of 2021, and then I got a refund for it like a year later, which was neat. And then a year after that, they announced that, like, hey, because one of the big things was just like, hey, we don't have the service anymore. This controller only works with our service wirelessly, but you can take a wire, plug it into your computer, and it worked just fine. Then Google was lucky enough to release a little update tool that would change the firmware so that you could connect this to any device Bluetooth other than the Stadia, which again doesn't exist anymore. This tool was only available up until December of last year, but they happened to extend it for December of this year, I believe. I don't see why they can't keep this online indefinitely. It's Google, right? They have the money for it. But hey, we've got 7 months until they shut down that. But hey, the only reason I ever opened this up, and you can see the plastic right there, was just to make sure that the controller works. And it does. Should probably find a use for this Chromecast, and I will one day. But that's Google doing something right for their customers, right? Let's talk about a company that didn't or hasn't done something right for their customers as of just yet, and that would be Spotify. So the big news that broke a couple weeks ago would be that Spotify announced the discontinuation of their car thing. I got this again on sale for like $20 or something like that, and yeah, I figured at that price, might as well pick it up. It's basically if your car doesn't have like a smart entertainment center, and mine kind of does, but like I just wanted to try this out, right? It's like a little neat thing. It's got like a big knob on it, and actually I can just slide this open, right? It's basically like a little screen. It connects to your phone via Bluetooth, and it acts like a little controller kind of thing. Um, so here it is. You have like a couple buttons on top. You have 5 buttons. I believe you can map these to playlist or whatever. And one button here. This is for volume. And yeah, it was just like a little neat thing that you could hook up to your car. I actually used it a tiny bit in on my desk because it's just like a little nice display for your music that you're listening to. You can. There are developers that had made kind of extensions for this, and like you could use it for different kinds of apps. I know like the podcast app that I used, or like YouTube Music, or even Apple Music. They would all work with this, and it like was pretty neat. Obviously, there's more integration with Spotify, but it was just a little kind of cool things. Just have a little display. There were kind of reviews are like, why pay for this when you can just buy like a dock for your phone or something? But it was like a little neat thing, and I figured, for $20, why not pick this up and have some fun with it? And it was fun. Again, you can see it's back in the box because I didn't really use it too much, but it's just like a nice thing, fun thing to have. However, as of a couple weeks ago, Spotify announced that they're discontinuing it, which essentially means that if they don't do anything, this essentially becomes useless, right? The way it works is that it connects to your phone via Spotify, and then it will use Spotify to integrate with everything else. Spotify can just take out that integration from the app itself, and it will no longer work. It probably is too expensive or just not worth it for them to upkeep anything, but they could easily just release some kind of information about this, like some of that code, and just let the community take it from there. And they're not, and that kind of irks me. Like, it's not horrible, but it's just like, hey, a lot of people love this thing. Just do something. Let us have fun with it. Let us try and extend its life, as opposed to just like, hey, December rolls around, it's garbage now. And it sucks. Like, I can imagine this would fit in nicely with a bunch of little things, right? If I could like just have this hooked up to any stereo kind of thing in my house, right? Like, if I use Spotify and like connect it to any smart speaker, even like a regular speaker or stereo, and just have like a little cool display that you can just walk by and like crank up the volume, have a physical volume knob. It's really neat, and just like a small thing. It'd be nice, but apparently not. And it sucks, but the car thing will become e-waste, and I hate that. Hopefully Spotify does something, but this has just been something that I've been thinking about today and past couple of days, and there are some existing like little things that you can do. I remember seeing some talk about like, hey, instead of like, I think you can only use this with Spotify Premium, but if you wanted to use it with a non-premium account, there is a way to get around that. You just flash the firmware somehow. And I'll definitely try and like figure something out if it comes to that in like November, when this thing is truly end of life. But other than that, I don't know where we go from here. It'll be, hopefully Spotify does something, but if not, well, a lot of people will be throwing out their beloved car thing. With that said, that's where I'm going to call it for today. Thank you all for watching. I hope to see you tomorrow. And until then,